The history of Syria stretches back to the earliest known civilizations of humanity. Already around 11,000 years before Christ, people began to settle in the fertile regions of present-day Syria, particularly in the Euphrates and Orontes valleys. By 9,000 years before Christ, agriculture and animal husbandry had developed in Jericho and other settlements. Around 8,000 years before Christ, the first village communities emerged, while in the Bronze Age, approximately 4,000 years before Christ, the first urban centers such as Ebla and Mari flourished. Ebla gained political and economic importance, especially around 2,300 years before Christ, before it was destroyed by foreign powers in the 22nd century before Christ. In the first millennium before Christ, Syria was the scene of numerous cultural and political influences. In the 8th century before Christ, Aramaean kingdoms ruled the region, while from the 7th century before Christ, the Assyrian Empire controlled large parts of Syria. In the 6th century before Christ, Syria fell under Babylonian rule, before becoming part of the Persian Achaemenid Empire in the 5th century before Christ. Alexander the Great conquered Syria in the 4th century before Christ, bringing the region into the Hellenistic world. After Alexander's death in the year 333 before Christ, Syria came under the control of the Seleucids before finally becoming part of the Roman Empire in the 1st century before Christ. Under Roman rule, which lasted until approximately the 5th century after Christ, Syria developed into an important cultural and economic center. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Syria came under Byzantine control until the 7th century after Christ, when the Arab Muslims under Khalid ibn al-Walid conquered the region. At that time, Damascus became the capital of the Umayyad Caliphate, which lasted from 661 to 750 after Christ. In the Middle Ages, Syria frequently changed rulers. In the 12th century after Christ, Crusader states fought for control, but by the 13th century after Christ, the Mamluks established their rule. From the 16th century after Christ, Syria was part of the Ottoman Empire, a status that lasted until the end of the First World War in the year 1918 after Christ. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Syria came under French mandate. In the year 1943 after Christ, Syria gained its independence. However, the years following independence were marked by political instability, with a series of coups and shifting governments. In the year 1958 after Christ, Syria entered a short-lived political union with Egypt, known as the United Arab Republic, which ended in 1961 after Christ. Throughout the 1960s, military leaders and political factions struggled for power until the Ba'ath Party solidified control in 1963 after Christ. In the year 1970 after Christ, Hafez al-Assad, a member of the Ba'ath Party and an officer in the Syrian Air Force, took power through a coup and established an authoritarian regime that would last for 3 decades. Under Hafez al-Assad's rule, Syria was tightly controlled politically, but achieved some internal stability. The country faced numerous regional conflicts, including involvement in the Lebanese Civil War between 1975 and 2005 after Christ, and ongoing hostilities with Israel over the Golan Heights, which Israel occupied after the Six-Day War in 1967 after Christ. When Hafez al-Assad died in the year 2000 after Christ, his son Bashar al-Assad succeeded him. Initially, there were hopes for modernization and reform, but these soon faded as political repression continued. In the year 2011 after Christ, peaceful protests inspired by the Arab Spring were violently suppressed, triggering a brutal civil war. Since 2011 after Christ, Syria has suffered immense destruction, with hundreds of thousands of people killed and millions displaced. Various groups, including government forces, opposition factions, Kurdish militias, and extremist organizations such as the so-called Islamic State, fought for control. Foreign powers, including Russia, Iran, Turkey, and the United States, also became involved, turning the conflict into a complex international crisis. By the year 2025 after Christ, the Syrian government, with the support of Russia and Iran, had regained control of most major cities, but large parts of the country remain devastated. The humanitarian situation continues to be dire, with widespread poverty, displacement, and slow reconstruction. Despite isolated ceasefires and negotiations, a lasting political solution has not yet been achieved. Syria today stands as a deeply scarred nation, bearing the weight of its ancient history and its modern tragedy, yet still holding on to the hope of eventual peace and renewal.